Promised you a story about Shirley MacLaine. She's 90, and we have it. Let's get to it quickly. She's 90 years old. She's just written another book. It's called The Wall of Life, Pictures and Stories from This Marvelous Lifetime. And in it, she said the only man she's ever propositioned for sex who turned her down was Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
Morgan Freeman.
expect that. Okay.
87. She's 90. She did not say the timeline of when she propositioned Morgan Freeman for sex, but in the book, she said, I want him. I'm attracted to him.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
Oh, I guess not.
I mean, now pharmaceuticals help.
Are they partnered off at this point in time? I don't even know.
Well, he was married for a long time, and then I read this from her, and then he was married again. I think he's married now. I'm not positive. But she said that, you know, she had basically been able to have many conquests, but the one that slipped away was Morgan Freeman. And they were together. He inducted her for an AFI Life Achievement Award in 2012 and gave a glowing speech about her, and says that she is an amazing actress who brought to life many female characters on the silver screen, which is, of course, 100% true. Now, this is not the first book she's written and not the first time she's talked about her sex life. Shirley MacLaine, if you don't know, was well known probably 30 years ago for saying that she had past lives, which she remembers very well. And there's a famous interview she did with Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes when they were promoting the book. This is many years ago. And he was reading passages from the book saying, now, it looks like here you had sex with someone in a different life.
I was a Moorish girl who was tending to the sick on the Camino path. So I had been there before. And then as time progressed, I went deeper, is all I can say, and back into time further.
You wrote that you had an affair in this life with Olof Palme?
With this lifetime, yeah.
Yeah. Who was at the time
Swedish Prime Minister.
Prime Minister of Sweden, who in a past life, Olof Palme, was Charlemagne.
Yeah, that's what it said in my vision.
With whom you also had an affair.
Yes, but one of many.
Back when you were a Moorish girl.
That's right.
And you witnessed androgynous people giving birth
Yes.
to androgynous children, and you were androgynous.
Yes.
What's the public reaction to your book going to be, do you imagine?
Well, I think Jay Leno and, God forbid, David Letterman will have a field day.
That's magic.
She was correct.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
That last sentence proved to be the most correct of them all.
And she does not care for Mr. Letterman. And Mike Wallace said, what's the public reaction to your book? And you're an
No one's ever given more disdain with a neutral question, I think, in history.
reaction to your book.
When you were a Moorish girl,
Because
you
he
had
probably
sex with Charlemagne?
With whom you also had an affair.
he probably had to read it.
Yeah, they made
Which,
him read.
yeah, which then I'm sure.
Well, back then, they read the books.
Yeah, they did. They
Yeah,
used to read the book.
The only
halfway-
person who didn't and proudly was Larry King, the old interviewer.
Yeah, he said I didn't have time for the
He
book.
said, I never read the book.
Right.
When he'd have an author on.
But halfway through that book, you're going, why am I reading this?
Come on now.
Why am I
what
doing
am I
this?
doing here?
Yeah.
That was very famous when she said she had past life. Now she's out with another book with her memory.
Has she, I mean, I don't keep up real honestly with Shirley MacLaine. Incredibly talented actor, as you pointed out.
Oh, yeah.
And her work in The Apartment, sublime.
Wonderful. Steel Magnolias. Steel Magnolias.
Don't-
Terrific. The one with Jack Nicholson. That I
Yeah, the
love.
astronaut.
Terms of Endearment. Terms of Endearment.
She's fine.
Tremendous. Yes.
But has she addressed that period in her life recently about how, and it sounded to the average Joe that she'd kind of gone off the rails with these,
yeah.
you know, I've been reincarnated infinite times.
She was a punchline for sure on the late night shows.
years.
For years. Because of that. I haven't heard from that in a long time. You know, that kind of faded away. I feel like Steel Magnolias brought her back. I do. That was late 80s. And, well,
When was the book?
when did the book come out?
Mid 80s, early
I
80s?
well, I don't know. It must have been later because Jay Leno didn't take over The Tonight Show until the early 90s.
Yeah, but he was on TV pretty regularly.
He was. But wouldn't she have said Johnny Carson if it had been in the mid 80s? I don't think she would have said Jay Leno. That's a good question. But when I saw Steel Magnolias, I thought, well, she's not that crazy. She's good. You know, she did a good job in this movie. And I've seen The Apartment.
Was it called Out on a Limb? Was that the crazy
I
book?
believe so, yeah. When was the crazy book written?
83.
Wow, that long ago. Okay,
Wow.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's a young Mike Wallace.
That's Terms of Endearment time. You're right. But don't you think she'd say Johnny Carson in '83, not Jay Leno?
Yeah, but Johnny wasn't.
But
He
Leno
wasn't the mean guy.
Well, I know, but Leno wasn't. All he was a stand-up comic. Leno, Carson hosted the show, and Joan Rivers was his fill-in in 1983. Maybe it was a later book that she wrote. Anyway, she was a punchline for a long time. Here's a younger actress, Meryl Streep, who's this is also sexual. This is sexual as well. Word is coming out now that after filming a love scene in Only Murders in the Building, which is that hit show on Netflix, she did a love scene with Martin Short. And when it was done, she wept and walked over to the director and said, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this scene." And the director said, "Why are you thanking me for this scene?" And she said, "Because at 75, I never thought I'd do another love scene again. And it's part of that."
You could tell by the crew that was retching in the pool.
Thank you for clearing the set. They voluntarily left.
I was willing to show more of my body. We know.
No.
It wasn't required.
Please don't. Please don't. So Martin Short, who's in his 70s, and Meryl Streep had a passionate love scene. I don't watch that show, but I hear it's really good.
It's never moved me to watch it.
My wife,
I like that the talent is great.
I love Martin Short. I love Steve Martin and Meryl Streep. It speaks for herself. My wife watched and said it wasn't all. She didn't love it. So I always take recommendations from my wife and my dear friend Biggie, but only after about 2 years will I watch
You
it.
begrudgingly take Biggie's advice, and he's rarely led you wrong.
That's right. In fact, he's been the most accurate of anyone on what I will like, and yet still I won't give him any credit for that. So she says that she did weep when the love scene was over and went to the director and said, "Thank you so much for giving me this. I thought love scenes were in the past for me." Billy Crystal, younger actor. Younger now.
Slightly.
We're going
Slightly
going
younger.
younger and younger with it. Oh, excuse me. He's 76. He's older than Meryl Streep. God, I think of him as younger than Meryl Streep. He's 1 year older than Meryl Streep. He says people ask him all the time about an iconic sweater he wore in When Harry Met Sally. It was white. I saw a picture of it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember that. It's a white sweater that he wore in a few scenes in When Harry Met Sally, and he is looking for it and thinks he accidentally donated it to the UCLA School of Acting and Theater. And now he's like, if you come across that sweater, I'd really like that back. They gave it to him in wardrobe. He got to keep it. And he said, I keep a lot of stuff from the movies, but when he was doing a clean out of his house, he feels like he accidentally gave the iconic sweater away to their props department.
Now, I've heard you mention something along these lines many times, Kelly, and I think you better hope that your wife is not listening, because this is her biggest nightmare.
I know.
Because you
I know.
keep nothing. You have no sentiment.
I know.
Except for your office, which is cluttered with junk.
Yeah, it's got pictures and stuff in there.
But you don't want anything in your home.
No, I don't. And I'll throw that office stuff. Well, I'll take it home. I can't ever throw anything away. That's always the fight between me and my wife. What to throw away, which is nothing.
But this is her nightmare, something valuable that she would want to keep down the road.
Well, it's come back to bite me now. Tomorrow is Crazy Socks Day at the gym, and I had some orange socks, but I got rid of them 2 years ago. And I could have worn the orange socks for Crazy Socks Day. And because I will not get a ticket into the fishbowl raffle at the end of the month.
You can't wear a pair of your wife's socks or daughter's socks or Christmas socks.
Listen, we don't want to start that.
The sock.
Wearing the wife's socks, that's how rumors get started.
All right, that's accurate.
Maybe you're right.
That's fair.
Next thing you know, people say you're living your truth.
Okay, I hear you. Well, that's the rumor about Martin Short and Meryl Streep, is that they're lovers in real life, and because they had such an accurate sex scene.
I believe they've been seen a few times out together, having dinner.
Yeah.
And of course, the paparazzi have loved that.
Yeah. Here's some younger actors, but it's about aging. Hallmark is denying that they are writing out Lacey Chabert and Holly Robinson Peete, two of their biggest stars on the Christmas movies that Hallmark does. And Biggie's mother watches those Christmas movies all the time.
Yeah, she cannot wait.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're already here,
They're
right?
starting now.
Yeah.
They're starting very soon. And several people are saying they're writing them out because they're getting older. A casting director named Penny Perry is suing Hallmark Channel. She says she was fired because of her age. Now, she's 79. They said, no, we didn't fire her because of her age, just some cutbacks. But several, and she says that there's talk
79?
79. She's a writer, casting director for Hallmark. They fired her. And
is she trying to hire Adolph Monjou for some of these roles?
yes. She likes
He's been dead 50 years.
She likes the older stars.
Is Clark Gable available?
Let me tell you something.
Honey.
Holly Robinson Pete paces that network. She is the star of that network.
I have a meeting with Katharine Hepburn next week.
Let me tell you. And
We've got to let her go.
She's booking the dead celebrities.
Lacey Chabert is 42, and they're saying she can't play these 25-year-old women anymore like she used to.
Well, you can't play that role.
You know,
Yeah.
You got to play the mom of the team.
Well, I'll tell you this. I just watched that Netflix movie. I told you about it last week. The dating game.
Oh, yeah.
Woman of the Hour.
Woman of the Hour. Really good. I really enjoyed it. Now, this is set in 1978. The star is Anna Kendrick, and I feel like she's playing a 30-year-old or less, 28. I mean, I think she can do it. But
She can still swing it,
She's
yeah.
42, though. I mean, she's getting older, but she looks a lot younger. My wife said, she's a little long in the tooth to play this role, don't you think? And I said, I don't. I think she has a real youthful look to her.
Adjust blanket.
Yes, I was under my Afghan, and I said, I think she's
I'm not aroused by her youthful look.
Oh, no. Look how young she looks.
Same with Kristen Bell. She's in this show I just watched where she's playing, I think she's playing like early 30s. Well, she's 44. Kristen Bell, what's that show everybody's watching?
The dating kind of thing.
Yes, nobody wants
dating
it.
yeah.
Nobody wants this. She's dating a rabbi. And my wife said, she's a bit long in the tooth to play this role, don't you think? And I said, I really don't.
I don't know. I get it.
I think she's got it. And my wife said, well, she's had a lot of work done. And I said, well, I mean,
Did you bristle?
I did. I said, if it suits you, it suits you. And she said, that doesn't even look like her. And I said, well, she
I may
looks
get this
fine.
wrong. They call it the invisible era now of work. You have procedures, but no one can tell until you're 45, until you're 50,
What?
and you still have zero wrinkles.
She looks great. She looks great.
Okay.
And my wife said, she's playing 15 years her junior. And I said, and
Took me out of the movie.
No. I thought she played it quite as said she played it quite well. And then she and I had to watch it in silence because
yes.
I kept saying how both those women who are in their 40s look like they're in their late 20s. Okay, fine. That's it. I said it. I owned it. Anyway, Hallmark is now getting a little bit of pushback, especially from their older viewers, saying, we really like these Christmas movies with Holly Robinson Pete. Don't write her out of these things. She is the star, apparently.
Oh,
over
yeah.
Hallmark. I didn't watch it much. One more.
They're always, but I mean, you see the commercials. They're usually youngish looking people that I've never seen before. I've never seen Holly Robinson Pete or Lacey.
I didn't know they were the stars of Hallmark, but
They make movies all the time.
Lacey
Yeah.
Chabert has in more movies than anybody on that channel.
For a long time, it was the girl from Wonder Years, too.
Oh,
Yes,
She was in there a lot.
Danica McKellar, former guest on this show,
True.
Yeah.
and she looks.
Did you just adjust your hair?
What are you doing?
She's in her early 50s. Looks terrific. I
Bit
told my,
long in the tooth.
Is this your, tell? Every time you've masturbated to one of them?
You adjust your
hair.
bangs.
I didn't even know I was doing it. I had no
That's
idea.
pretty obvious.
I didn't know I adjusted my bangs.
Oh, yeah, I love her. Yeah. What are you doing with your hair?
I fight
Oh,
for.
nice.
Listen, I fight for older women. There it is. I fight for older women.